Mr. Ed, I'm going to get out here and catch the 10 o'clock news, but tell Alvin I said, what's up? Take care, Eddie.
Tell him he better get a name. Hey, babysitter, tell him he better get a name. Babysitter, the wolf, gone playing KY. Hey, 31, I went.
On down the line, you need to find out what that feedback is, because you got some good modulation. Babysitter, you got some good sounding modulation, but on down the line, find out what feedback is. Take care, put on your later. Babysitter, Connecticut, Switchblade, Switchblade, number 2 station, get down.
Get in 1 31, I'm just passing through. Get in 1 31, I'm just passing through. 31, T in the Magnolia, get down.
Yeah. Let me see what 31 true that. Y'all take care. Switch, number 2 station, getting down. I gotta go to a signal. I'll be back in 22 minutes. Hey, Mr. Ed, you said they ain't gonna take you but 2 minutes.
Switchblade long wind, man. Switchblade long wind. The big bad wolf is gone.
You said they ain't gonna take you but 2 minutes. What's you gonna do in 2 minutes? I ain't gonna go there. Take your head, Switchblade. Guess what I said?
Greek. Jesus. In Hebrew means the horse. Hebrew 666.
Yeah, right about 32.5. 32.5.
That's my neighbor. Hey, that wolf.
Some people don't stay welcome. Hey, Mr. Sometimes if you stay too long in some places, you can't get out of it. Not by yourself.
I am gonna get out of here and put it on the quiet side. I'm gonna do just that. Take care of that wolf. While you sitting up there in the wolf den, the big bad wolf in Alabama, I'm sitting back in the wolf den too, looking out. Good day. better be careful too. And that wolf, he better be real careful too. The wolf in the den got down.
5 alive. A wolf in the stone, 5 alive, and Alabama's just passing right on through. Hey, Brown, one of this rough ones coming in, man. I kid you not. I did hear him.
Hey, Wolf, she loves it. She's agreeing on her face. She loves it, Al Wolf. Take care of my brother. I'm going to get out here and read the mail. Al Wolf, I am the great big bad wolf in a bam got down.
Hey, Mr. Ed, don't worry about no big bad wolf. Hey, Mr. Ed in the shed, worldwide, Big Peter in the BYU. Bake up, bake up, bake up. There it is right there, Mr. Ed. No pain, no strain, man. Long time, no speakerphone. I heard you say you're trying to get over in the big arm, but you got to cross around Shreveport, Louisiana first. Hey, Mr. Ed, you got to come across Shreveport, Louisiana first. Hello, Mr. Ed. Happy Father's Day coming up on you, brother. My brother. Mr. Ed, Peter gone in the BYU right back, mate.
Been a while. It's all still good.
Yeah, 410. Boy, you some kind of wonderful, I guarantee tell you. I was talking to my homeboy, President Obama. I went down on his end and spent a little time with him, and your name came up in the queue, so I need to get with you on the 3 things there, baby. Yeah, 410. Okay, then. Well, we'll definitely do that. I guarantee tell you, man. I say, hey. Worldwide, what I'm talking about? Mr. Ed in the shed, Greg, Big Peter gone up in this northwest corner of the BYU, getting on down.
Hey, Ricochet Rabbit, you calling Jack a Diamond in Georgia, man. But
yeah, 410. Okie-dokie, man. I appreciate the kind words. Hey, but Mr. Ed, you got some duck-plucking audio coming up out that duck-plucking radio there for Joe. Keep up the good work. I like your style, Mr. Ed. Peter gone, got to be gone. Yeah, 410. Hey, give me the audio. You can keep the watch. I mean, you got to have some watch, but I'd rather have more audio and watch there, Mr. Ed Break. I got to get this one to you, man. I got a 1-on-1 double E, I guarantee.
Hey, up there, Mr. Ed. Hey, Mr. Ed, the big bad wolf in the bam. Tell old number 1 firefighter I wave my hand at it when you told to him. Mr. Ed, the big bad wolf is gone.
410, Mr. Ed, always a pleasure to double mercy. God grace around your place. Remember one thing. Hey, God love you and so do I. There ain't a double-looking thing you can do about it. Take care, Mr. Ed in the shed. Greg, Big Peter gone. Top side of my Louisiana state. I'm getting on down.
Hey, Mr. Ed, I'm on I-20 the house around a little bit closer to you. I ain't got me in. I'm going to wave my hand and say happy daddy day and tell old number 1 firefighter, the big bad wolf, say hello to her. Hey, Mr. Ed in the shed, the big bad wolf in the den. Because he, like you said, he might be honeymooning, and I know he don't want to be called and doggone bother when he honeymooning. Hello, Mr. Ed. Mr. Ed in the shed, the wolf in the bam got down. Mr. Ed, Yellow Jacket want to know why you making all that noise in my bayous. Mr. Ed, Yellow Jacket deep in the swamps, nosy breaker. He probably got that noise all go home wide open, shoot a lot of water, no doubt about it. Take care of Mr. Ed. Hey, Mr. Ed, your friend in the big band. Mr. Ed, the big bad wolf in the wolf den got down. I heard somebody in Virginia in my radio. Mr. Ed talking down to the I heard somebody in Virginia. Water. He took that nozzle wide open and all the water come out. Take care of Mr. Ed in the shed. The wolf got down. That Yezu sound real good, man. That Yezu sound real good in the band, no doubt about it. Keep on with it, keep on, man. Hope to see you somewhere before the year out. Mr. Ed, your friend, the big bad wolf. Mr. Ed, the wolf in the band, me and this Alabama still got down. Mr. Ed, big wolf, big radio, big audio, big steel in the wolf den. Mr. Ed, the wolf. Good day. Hey, Mr. Ed, you keep hollering about you talking on a Yezu.
Hello, Mr. Ed.
What Yezu you talking about?
Live in Alabama's reading milk.
Hey, baby, you got a copy of 21. Hey, Mr. Ed, if you want brag on your Yezu, I got it. The bees in the east, the wolf in the bam got down. Cause Yezu made a whole bunch of different models, duck plugger. But I gotta give it to you, man. Yakimo sound good, Mo. But I like to know which Yezu you talking on. Yellow Jacket down here in the bottom side of Louisiana. Tell you, baby, son, I hope you don't mind fine, man. I'm gonna get out here and get you, shoot you a 21 in a minute. Take care, baby, son. Hey, baby, son, I am the great big bad wolf in the wolf den. Me and this Alabama still rocking on. Good evening to you, Rico. Good evening to you, my longtime friend in Virginia, Mr. Worldwide Rico. Hey, State Warren, I'm gonna get my knees in the breeze and get on out of here. Hey, State Warren, always a pleasure. Happy Daddy Day once again. Hey, State Warren, the big bad wolf in the bam got down. Good day, good day. And that'll rile you, Rico. got it going on. Hey, Rico. Hey, Rico, yell at that.
I get him, man. Modulator. And I'm going with the first,
Someone out there tell you. The mayor.
I hear somebody in Pensacola.
Audio.
bridge. I can't wait on the 26th of March. I can make it later. Hey, don't put him on the bed, don't put him in the bed, don't put him on the bed, because they're too hot. Don't you help yourself, let you grab just being nosy. Alright, Lord, 27, hey, 20, go on, do it again, hey, 27, you did what you had to do, hey, 20, go on, do what you got to do, hey, 27, guys are working 27, keep on, goddamn. Hey, Munch man, who got it? Hey, Munch man. Munch man, Blackberry calling, break. Good, Mo, but 27 on their glasses, a little bit from the pad, breaker. You know what's up with my friend? Say, grab me my friend, man. Grab me my friend. Oh, he's about one in the refrigerator. Hey, Munch man. and you make know you're getting down.
Ashley May. But I don't know Ashley May. Ashley May. Well, May. Wait a minute. Ashley May?
involving the sacrament of penance, and fourth, mysticism.
عجیب خداوند است که از هیچ چیز و هیچ کس برای نجات مخلوقاتش دریغ نیست. عمقی نیست که محبت خدا به آنجا نرسد.
北地方で暮らすことになりました。初めての一人暮らし、自炊から掃除、洗濯など慣れない手つきで頑張りました。一番こだわったのが夕食。何
Here is the patience and the faith of the saints.
because the saints are not going to be led into captivity of the devil. Satan wants to lead everybody into his captivity. And that's what he's saying here. He that leads into captivity. All you people that are members of Satan's body, you're humans, but you're not the saints. You're the exact opposite. So you that do that lead people into captivity, you're going to go into captivity. Because what you're using is the Word of God. You're saying, beware and don't be beguiled.
It says to come out of her, my people, be not a partaker of her sins and her plagues. So if you stay in the sin of the whore, you go down with the whore, Sam. Get out.
U otras que están presas en los barrotes, en las cárceles, y otras que también estamos presas sin poderse mover fuera de la isla, como lo hemos denunciado en otro momento, a algún tipo de evento, algún tipo de viaje. Y no...
にとっては残念になってしまいますね。これね、記念日だからもう来年またってことになってしまうのがね、本当に残念ではありますが、とにかく安全第一でございますからね、もう天気ばかりはね、
invitaciones que hemos recibido 2022, 2020.
We can't publish them anywhere. The only way to access our low rate and save up to 70% is to call. Save hundreds on your vacation tickets by calling right now. You can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go. And pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines. 802-341-4535. 802-341-4535. 802-341-4535. That's 802-341-4535.
You've been hearing Dr. Wallach talking about 90 essential nutrients, keeping the body healthy. GCNteam.com now has Beyond Tangy Tangerine tablets, 60 plant-derived minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, packed in a powerful tablet. But that's not it. 160,000 auric points, a knockout punch to free radicals. Call 877-878-4203 or go to GCNteam.com. That's 877-878-4203.
Wellness and self-care doesn't have to be complicated. So keep it simple and take good care of yourself with Sunny Bay heating pads. Our heating pads soothe pains in the neck, back, and shoulders while relaxing muscles and increasing blood circulation. Sunny Bay heating pads have always been made in the USA and hand-filled to perfection with the highest quality materials. Sunny Bay heating pads are the perfect wellness gift for loved ones or yourself. See all of our high-quality products at sunny-bay.com, including heated body pads, neck pillows, heated neck and body wraps, and our stress-reducing lavender line. They're all affordable, durable, and in stock now and ready for immediate shipping from sunny-bay.com. Read our trusted, authentic, and real reviews at sunny-bay.com. Or just search for Sunny Bay Heating Pad. To your good health and wellness from Sunny Bay.
Are you a business owner? Are you confused by the complexity of the tax laws? We can help. I'm Dan Pilla, and I've been helping business owners solve tax problems for over 40 years. My book, The Small Business Tax Guide, shows proven ways to avoid all the common business tax problems. Don't risk your business. Go to Dan.com to order your copy. That's danpilla.com. Order now and get a free 15-minute call directly with me, a $99 value. Go to danpilla.com. That's danpilla.com. showed medical site graphics, cartoon graphics of artificial penises, artificial vaginas, okay? Online, on Twitter, you can go see the actual medical videos and people complaining and saying what it was like and how hellish it is. So they know exactly what they're doing. They're walking people into literal mind control, taking their mental illness and making it 10 times worse. So I want to play back-to-back 2 different clips of people that are going public and speaking out against this. And remember, these are brainwashed victims coming out of it, so you still hear some of the brainwashing. Here it is.
Since my sex reassignment surgery, I had my SRS 10 years ago. It's been almost 4 years since I had the first stage of my vaginoplasty. I had my second SRS revision surgery. I am getting a second surgery. After my surgery, I was just in such a dark place that I didn't really want to talk about it. I didn't really want to have to go back into it and feel all those feelings over again. I had a few complications, bleedings, infections. I've had complications, and I've had a hard time. I did have some complications, and I did have some, concerns that not everybody deals with. I thought it would make me happier, and initially it did. Was that worse the constant issues I've had? The dilation I'd have to do for the rest of my life. I'm having the worst time with dilation. I was experiencing a little bit of dehiscence, which is basically when you are so swollen that the sutures that they put start to rip open. It was as bad as it sounds. I had trouble urinating. I kind of walked around with it for a year before I seeked help. The reason I'm dilating twice a day is because if I miss one, it is so painful. I dread it so much because it's so painful. I had to dilate again that night, and I think I moved a stitch. I don't know what happened, but something happened, and I was in excruciating pain. It felt like literally somebody had shot me or stabbed me or burned me or something down there. I had to dilate, and I had to open and let the urethra up, and it was just I'm going to start crying. I was bleeding every time. I literally was going to pass out. I threw up because I had so much pain. I remember falling my eyes out, saying what did I heal from this? My body is constantly trying to heal after surgery, since it considers it to be an open wound. I mean, what can I do except go and have another revision? I remember starting to cry in the surgeon's office because I was I'm depressed. I'm in school. It's painful. It's a lot. The issues I had very early on should have been indications to me that I should have done this. But I hated my male self so much that I needed to. And now there is no way to go back. You can never go back when you get a surgery. It's not always going to go well. If I had known about the irreversible physical damage I caused my body, then I would have never done any of this. It's very much a commitment for life. You're going to have to rely on doctors for the rest of your life. Don't be like me and deny problems until it's too late. Rather, address them so you can be happier and live a healthier life. The hardest part is being sold something that I believe was going to help me and make me feel better, only to do it, all of it, and come out on the other side without feeling any better. I really can't. I can't ever undo it. I could have always waited, but I can't. I can't undo it now that I did it. I began transitioning at 12 years old. 12 years old when I started Lupron and testosterone, and it was only a month after my 13th birthday that I had a double mastectomy. I was in a place when I made those decisions where I did not have my comorbidities under control, and that just shouldn't be how it is when you make these types of decisions. There's just a lot that goes into making such life-changing choices that it's almost under duress when you have all these comorbidities stacked up in these issues. I came across Chloe Cole's case one night while trying to research and Google where my doctors are now and if they're still practicing. And I saw the active sue letter in her lawsuit. I am actively suing Kaiser Permanente, and I'm suing the doctors that
training for people who are not happy in the lifestyle to say, hey, you could be in the heterosexual lifestyle. You can become a nut. You can become celibate. Oh, no, we want to pass laws where you can't go and, quote, brainwash back. But I mean, here's the deal. I'm not attacking anybody other than those that want to attack children. If you're 18 years old and you really want to go have your penis cut off, I don't like it. It's terrible, but taxpayers shouldn't pay for it. But you have a right to even commit suicide if you want. I believe people have a right to kill themselves. I don't think it's good. I think it's bad. But you know, I've had friends that were in pain, had cancer, didn't want to hurt their family, didn't want to spend all the money, went out on the back 40, stuck a shotgun in out, blew their head off. There was people I respected and loved, killed themselves. I'm sad they did it, but you know they did it because they were stuck in Japan. If the family can't make money, they can't do well. There's like 6 or 7 of them. One person, you know, they got insurance, decides to commit suicide, they have a nice dinner with them, and the person kills himself. It's not a good thing, but to them that's an honorable deal. Take care of the family. But when you target children when they're confused, when you're 7 years old and they ask you at school, this is all on record, to little boys, do you like little boys and little girls? Little boys will say, I like little boys. Well, that's because they want to play with them. Batman and Robin. They go, oh, we're putting that in your file. Likes boys. Well, you want to have sex with boys? Same thing with girls. That's girls. You like girls or boys? I like girls. Now, most boys say they want to be with boys. Most girls say they want to be with girls. I was always the type that I was just attracted to girls. I'd be okay. I'd play with Barbies so I could hang out with girls. I thought they were pretty. I was Cowboys and Indians and Batman and Robin and Army as well. But I was more into playing doctor with the girls. So the issue here is that they're targeting our children when they're confused. It's run by the CIA, by MI6, by Tavistock Institute on record. It is a takedown of civilization operation. And of course the lawsuits are coming, but the system doesn't care. This is horrible mutilation, horrible crimes. Now, Owen, I want to get your take on this situation, and then I'm going to host part of the next hour with you and then hand the baton to you. You've been doing a fabulous job. I want listeners to also know that I said I'd get into Zuckerberg. I did not get into Zuckerberg, but I kind of got into it when I mentioned I was getting into Zuckerberg. But what I will do is bring in Zuckerberg with the guests, because this ties in to all of this, and then we'll have a full report next week. So I want to put all this together. But I did send the crew just a few screenshots of video that we're going to have from the air of Zuckerberg's compound. And so we'll show that next hour. But Scott Bennett was an Army officer in Special Operations, Psychological Warfare commissioned by Congress. There's a lot of really huge operations and work, exposed government corruption, and he's extremely articulate. I want to get his take on what's happening in Russia, what's happening with the power grid attacks, what's happening with the elites building all these bunkers, what's happening with the debt ceiling, and so much more. So look for that next hour. I'll co-host with Owen Schroyer. But going out to break here, I want to remind listeners that X3 is going to be sold out at current sales rates in a few weeks. It's sold out for a long time before that. If you want to get it and get it discounted, you've got 3 or 4 days more. We're going to run the sale through Tuesday. That's going to go back to regular price till it sells out. Get X3 Experience Friday night, InfoWarsStore.com. or 888-253-3139. Owen Schroyer, take us out to break with your take on the nightmares of transgenderism and the backlash.
Well, let's just look how they apply this to ending debate and executing power. At Twitter today, we discovered Twitter censored the Daily Wire's new video called "What is a Woman?" Elon Musk, hours later, made a statement that this was done by rogue individuals at Twitter. So they're still trying to clear out some of these rogue groups at Twitter that are censoring content they don't like. It's going to be on Twitter. Now, look at this example of a pitcher in Toronto who comes out, shares a video that says, hey, we Christians are going to be boycotting Target because of their pride propaganda aimed at children. He then issues an apology, and it does nothing for him. He's still going to face punishment from the organization, and he still has local media demanding he get traded. And then in Uganda, the Biden administration said, we're not going to give Uganda any aid if you guys don't accept gay marriage. Uganda basically said, fine, then we don't want your gay money. So it just shows to use the power of the purse to force culture, Alex, as we go to this break. More from Alex Jones.
Social engineering.
Radio? Why should I advertise on radio? There's nothing to look at. No pictures.
Listen, you can do things on radio you couldn't possibly do on TV.
That'll be the day.
All right, watch this. Okay, people, now when I give you the cue, I want the 700-foot mountain of whipped cream to roll into Lake Michigan, which has been drained and filled with hot chocolate. Then the Royal Canadian Air Force will fly overhead towing a 10-ton maraschino cherry, which will be dropped into the whipped cream to the cheering of 25,000 extras. All right, cue them up. To the airport. Over the maraschino cherry. Okay, 25,000 cheering extras. Now, you want to try that on television?
Well...
You see, radio is a very special medium because it stretches the imagination.
Advertising your business with GCN is simple, effective, and more affordable than you might think. Visit advertise.gcnlive.com for more info. Take your business to the next level. Iodine is naturally acquired through the soil, which is at the foundation of our entire food supply. Modern farming techniques have stripped the soil of this essential trace element, which has caused an iodine deficiency in about half the population. And there are two things we need to do about it. We need to practice more regenerative farming. There are plenty of proven technologies in permaculture and biodynamics that will naturally keep the soil rich with iodine. And we need to ensure that we get the sufficient amount of iodine every day. Derived from ancient sea salts found thousands of feet below the Earth's surface. Our InfoWars Life Survival Shield X3 is hands down the best. Pure nascent iodine, stabilized in an activated tri-iodine powder.
Joining us today. U.S. Commission, U.S. military, U.S. Army, worked in psychological operations around the world. We couldn't have a better expert on to analyze what's currently happening. So, for the time we have today, I want to get into the drone attacks on Moscow a few days ago and key information he has there, where that war is escalating, where that's going. I want to get his view on all the announcements that the right wing works with the Russians to attack the power grid. You can see where that's all going with a false flag to blame us. I've been simply predicting it for 2.5 years, and now exactly what I'm predicting is unfolding. I'm going to get his take on that. I'll look at the border collapsing, just the general situation, the constitutional crisis with the FBI director refusing to talk to Congress, and so much more. So, sir, thank you so much for coming on with us today. It's great to have you here with us. You heard the topics I just threw out. We only got a few minutes for it. What else do you want to get into here today? What else is on your radar screen?
Well, Alex, I'm glad you're fighting a good fight, brother. Blessed be the Lord my strength, and teacheth my hands to war and my fingers to fight. When you started on the border crisis, you're right. I listened to some Mexican newscasts, and the commentators were talking about shoulder missiles that had been acquired on the black market. I speak fluent Spanish, and she's speaking in Spanish about shoulder-fired missiles being acquired for $20,000 on the black market. That certainly sounds like weapons of psychological torment, guerrilla warfare, destruction. As the border crumbles, you will have a bleeding invasion effect, and they will put to flight border agents and others with those sort of weapons. And they may also go up and invade towns. Cartels are very political. They're very astute. They're very good at going up and saying, "Commander, the sheriff, do what we want, or else see this missile in our back of our car, your house will be blown up. Your buildings will be blown up." I see that coming. So the announcement of the border meltdown with these shoulder missiles that have been acquired from possibly Ukraine and the black market is an accelerant. It's also an indicator that they're preparing for what may be coming, which Mike Adams and yourself and others have talked about, Colonel McGregor has talked about. So that's the border situation. The Ukrainian drone strike, of course, I was on a Russian television. Think about this unmanned aerial vehicle attack that had transpired against Moscow, the capital of Russia, mind you. And they played for me a signal broadcast and said, "What do you think this is?" And it was an American military-sounding broadcast with code words on it. And I played it, and I've got it, and I can play for you. I think I sent it to you, but it was FUX, YLT, FUX, YLT, FUX, JOP, TCUU, 4N, KCSD, MKC, 3W, E4LNA, and they repeated it, and they called it Operation Fish Hook. That sounded suspicious, and I said, well, either the United States under Joe Biden has launched a war against Russia, calling it Fish Hook, without the authorization of the United States Congress, or the United States government has been advised of an attack that Ukraine just did, and they are preparing to defend against counterstrikes, or it is just an announcement, of NATO, U.S., Ukrainian joint operation.
So this is all huge. Scott Bennett, stay right there. We're going to break for 1 minute. We're going to come back with a short video dealing with them getting ready for power false flags, and then we're going to get right to you, and then we're going to break all this down, and we'll start there. InfoWars is known for being tomorrow's news today. InfoWars is known for having 98% accuracy on average. InfoWars is known as being a game changer, and our products are not any different. Two amazing products that I really want you to try if you've never tried them. Or if you've been a regular buyer of them, they've been sold out for a long time, they're back in stock. I want to remind you, are now back in stock, are the Real Red Pill Plus and Ultimate Bone Broth. I don't have time in 60 seconds to tell you about all the ingredients, but believe me, you want to go research. You want to go check out Real Red Pill Plus and Ultimate Bone Broth, back in stock, but they're selling out quick. And despite the fact they're selling out, they're both discounted. In fact, Real Red Pill Plus is 40% off right now. But in a week or so, should I go back to full price? It's about to sell out. This is your chance to experience Real Red Pill.
Rallying patriots worldwide in defense of human liberty. It's Alex Jones.
Attacks on power supplies being blamed on the right wing. We've seen the FBI say the number one terrorist threat is domestic right-wingers. And if you look at all the pre-programming data points that are there, they're hyping this up. It might be, hackers took down part of the power grid. How many times have I said they're going to blow the power grid up and say Trump supporters did it?
Well, tonight, the nation's intelligence agencies are warning of cyber threats from Russia and are urging U.S. critical infrastructure defenses to be reinforced.
Homeland Security is warning of a potential troubling escalation in tactics from right-wing extremists.
It wouldn't take much to throw the entire country into darkness.
We've seen the FBI say the number one terrorist threat is domestic right-wingers. They've now defined it as fascism if you support President Trump, or America First. And then now we start seeing headlines at the top of Drudge yesterday. Imminent. Trump's calling for violence. Trump's calling for insurrection. January 6, 2.0. That's been all over the news, building up. And if you look at all the pre-programming data points that are there, they're hyping this up.
The grid is a sprawling target. There are actually 3 in the U.S. Eastern, Western, and Texas has its own. Should a transformer explode like this one in Manhattan during Superstorm Sandy, the system is designed to trigger a localized grid-preserving blackout. But if several sections of the grid go down at the same time, the shutdowns can cascade like dominoes.
It was actually a very shocking result to us that there's very few number of substations you need to take out in the entire United States to knock out the entire grid.
Pay insufficient attention to the frightening scenario of a comprehensive cyber attack, which would bring to a complete halt the power supply, transportation, hospital services, our society as a whole. The COVID-19 crisis would be seen in
is disrespect as the smallest service in comparison.
Growing concerns over white supremacy in America as President Biden issues this new warning about the threat that it poses.
The most dangerous terrorist threat to our homeland is white supremacy.
This is not going to be the end of MAGA terrorism. This will only be the beginning.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back live right now, ladies and gentlemen, and we have our very special guest with us, Scott Bennett. Last time he was on us for an hour and a half. He went over his bio, but he was an officer in the Army all over the world, in Army psychological warfare operations. He's one of the smartest people out there when it comes to breaking the sound. If you just joined us, he was on with us a little bit in the last segment, preluding what he was about to hit. We're going to get into the huge developments in Ukraine and Russia. We're going to get into the massive preparations that are everywhere, telling us there's going to be imminent power outages blamed on the American people, which I saw them pre-programming they've now launched that. The total collapse of the border. We have articles on InfoWars.com. It's even on Fox News. U.S.-made anti-tank missiles that they've given by the thousands of Ukrainians that we know most of it gets sold on the black market around the world. We also saw this under Obama. Hundreds of thousands of guns shipped into Mexico and Fast and Furious, shipped to ISIS. It looks like a rerun of that. Plus all the U.S. weapons left in Afghanistan. Why are they doing this? What's the plan there? I mean, this is getting crazier and crazier. And then, of course, the constitutional crisis with the FBI director saying he won't even talk to Congress. So, Mr. Bennett, Lois Corey's riding shotgun. He's welcome to answer any questions at any time. But just start wherever you'd like with those topics and others, and we're going to try to give you the floor here.
Well, the righteous are as bold as a lion, and you certainly embody that, Alex. And you're doing a great job by surveying the enemy's intelligence, broadcasting messaging, because you are seeing the predictable analytics of the seeds being sown for the next psychological operations that they're going to be deploying against the United States and the people of the United States to weaponize their government against the people. The claims of right-wing white supremacy being a domestic terrorism operation growing is, of course, ludicrous, but it's the required talking point slogan to anchor their pivot point around, because they're going to lose in Ukraine. Europe is going to fall apart and collapse and then go neutral. NATO is going to disintegrate and just kind of be a calendar on the wall, but it doesn't have any pragmatic or practical application anymore. And Russia is not going to engage in operations against the United States unless they try and trigger nuclear activity against Russia. Then it will counterstrike. But Russia is playing the long game. They're smart. They're chess players. They don't want to aggravate the people in Europe or the United States. They want to they want to encourage their own people to clean their own house and not get involved. So I don't see Russia taking action against the United States. I do see the Democrats and Biden and these other fools trying to double down against Russia, setting off perhaps a nuclear event in Zaporozhia. But it's all doomed to failure. So the Ukraine annihilation is about to happen. Either Ukraine's going to go neutral and Zelensky's going to be removed, or it's going to be a smoldering ruin, and the best parts of Ukraine are going to be given back to Russia, and they're going to build a big Great Wall of China across portions of Ukraine to keep out Poland and the rest of them, who are going to be suffering from the birth defects from the nuclear fallback or fallout that the British have put there, which Russia has destroyed. So there are nuclear poisonings that have occurred. What I anticipate too is another pandemic sickness being laid out. Fox News has said expect another pandemic, and I predict they're going to unleash a pandemic in October, November of this coming year, and carry it through till February, January, and then launch all over again their PSYOP that they did in 2020, because they don't learn. And they will never relinquish power, Alex. We will never have a free and fair election so long as we use electronic Dominion voting machines and any electronic voting machine. We have to have counties say paper ballots and ink-dipped thumbs on the paper is the only way the American election goes forth. Because any other
means... By the way, just to back that up, you've been in Iraq and all over, you've seen this. That's why they had to have the purple ink. The State Department said that had to be done. So our State Department goes around the world saying who has free elections and who doesn't. According to the State Department's own rules, we have one of the most fraudulent elections in the world, but now they're trying to say it's terrorist. That's one of the white supremacist markers. If you question elections, well, everybody's supposed to question elections. I mean, not to interrupt you, to back up what you're saying, and then to also back up what you're saying about how they're pre-programming. Oh, the new virus. We ended the last pandemic because the new one's coming. And a month before the head of the WHO said that, the day they ended it, I said they're ending it to declare victory against COVID, so they can, quote, declare victory against the next, more deadly virus. He comes out a month later and says, it's going against children, it's coming in next year, and we will take the rights, but we beat COVID, so do what we say, we will beat it this time. I mean, as you said, they lay the seeds for unconscious people, but if you're conscious, it's all pre-programmed. We don't know exactly when they're going to launch what, but we know what they've got in their hand, what cards they've got to play.
You're right. You're exactly right. They are laying it, and they will use this next pandemic to really annihilate everybody who is foolish enough to get the bioweapon jab. So they are already laying the seeds. The miscalculation that I've seen in Afghanistan, I've seen it in Iraq, and I see it again in Ukraine, and I see it again now. The miscalculation is the inability to understand and certainly the inability to predict the movement of God and the souls of men and women, and the spiritual nature of inspiration, and the power and the magnetism of spiritually anointed and speaking people that inspire courage and strength into others. When we speak, Alex, when we present, our energy that God anoints us with turns other people into the strength of Samson. On a spiritual level, and this is a spiritually intuition thing, but that's what the bad guys can't understand. They can't calculate. Of course, they try and replace it. They're of their father, the devil. They're trying to pursue all of this, transhumanism, transgenderism. The thing I see is the breakup inevitably of the United States into factions and regions and states. And then you're going to have a reconsolidation of these regions and such. It's a hard pill to swallow, but that seems to be the predictive, analytical domino effect that is going to transpire when everybody who's got.
By the way, to interrupt you, Scott, what you're saying, just interrupt you, you're so on target. But I tell people I am for different regions breaking away. It's not the end of the republic. That's exactly what I historically see. We have to have some.
Hi, I'm Dan Pilla. I started fighting the IRS over 40 years ago when they tried to seize my mother's house. I sued the IRS and won. I beat the IRS then, and I've been beating them ever since. I wrote the book on tax debt settlement, and I've helped thousands of people deal with tax problems they thought might never be solved. I can help you too. If you owe taxes you can't pay, don't wait another day. There's no such thing as a hopeless tax case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX or go to my website, danpilla.com. That's danpilla.com, danpilla.com.
Imagine it's the last ride, but your symptoms of irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C, are taking you for a ride. What should you do? Keep managing your constipation with belly pain the same old way? Or try getting ahead of your symptoms by talking to your doctor about treating it with Linzess, linaclotide. Linzess is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually.
Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. Severe.
Solar terrestrial speed for June 1st follow. Solar plus 164, an estimated planetary age. pain relief from Veterans Vitality. GCN listeners, have you ever thought about how CBD may help you? I'm sure you have heard about the many benefits of CBD. Well, here's your opportunity to try before you buy. Created by veterans and for everyone who deserves better choices, our CBD is derived from organic hemp, grown in the USA and third-party tested. Veterans Vitality CBD saves you as much as 25 to 50% over our competition, and a portion of all sales is contributed to veteran nonprofits and events. Many of our customers have experienced improved quality of life, help with anxiety, PTSD, and overall well-being. Our products do not contain THC. They are safe, non-addictive, effective, and 100% legal. GCN listeners, get your free trial bottle of premium CBD by simply paying shipping and handling at GCNFreeCBD.com. That's GCNFreeCBD.com. Again, GCNFreeCBD.com. Offered by Veterans Vitality Premium CBD.
Life can be full of risks. One thing you shouldn't take a risk with ever is your family's health insurance. If you're self-employed or you now need affordable health insurance, you need to make this free call right now and see how the Health Insurance Helpline can help you get it. We specialize in helping the self-employed and people just like you that need affordable health insurance to get it. We have short and long-term health insurance plans, and some even cover dental, vision, and...
(670-0946). That's 800-670-0946.
But isn't that exactly what the bad guys said happened on 9/11? Planes struck America, and there we went and beat up and destroyed Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya, Syria, now Ukraine, and tried to do it against Lebanon and Iran and all these other countries. So Ukraine does to Russia what Bush and Cheney and the rest of these liars said happened to America, and we're preventing them from taking a counterstrike. It's just comical, but again, Russia is not...
Let's shift gears into that. Let's shift gears into that. And I want to church in with our great guest, Mr. Bennett, anytime. Looking at, recap what happened with this latest wave of drone attacks and this code that was sent out. We know the U.S. is running NATO. We know it's running the war. They know it's bad. We knew it before it even launched. We know that they blew up the Keystone Pipeline. They shut that down before it even slipped. They shut down the Nord Stream 2 pipeline and others. On the same day, Europe opened its new pipeline. This is all ridiculously obvious. And then now that codes government targets and military targets, and it was going to beat the British. So the British intelligence said that we can attack the civilians. Psychological profile shows models going on that are happening. They're trying to get Russia to retarget what it's doing. It's clear Russia's turning.
That provoke them into civilian strikes. They're aware of the strategy to provoke Russia into strikes so that the West can then secretly set off nuclear events, Zaporozhye type of meltdown events, so that the West can then justify its own NATO U.S. forces going in and building a no-fly zone and then trying to engage in a freezing of the conflict like a 38th parallel, thinking that Russia is just going to allow it to happen. That's the miscalculation. Russia's never going to allow that to happen. They're not going to fall into the trap of attacking civilian targets. They're not going to bomb San Antonio. They're not going to bomb Miami. They're not going to bomb New York. They're not even going to bomb Washington. But they will annihilate every weapon system that crosses the border into Ukraine. And if they use nuclear weapons of any kind against Russia will endure certain small bites. It will lose certain battles to win the war. And it's just a matter of mathematics. Russia's already won the war. It's winning the theater of war. Look at the world geopolitical realignment. You've got the entire continent of Africa rejecting the United States and Biden because we've threatened them to put sanctions because they passed an anti-LGBT law. Well, I wish they'd pass the same thing in the United States. I wish we'd have the same courage of Africa and Russia by claiming that marriage is between a man and a woman and putting it in our Constitution. But when Africa does it, Biden says, I'm going to sanction that country, and Europe goes ballistic. what happens? Every African nation, which are very traditional nations and peoples, every African nation is now aligning with Russia. And you also see Central America, Peru, South America aligning with Russia. Why? Because they're not hostile and crushing and violent and war and bloodthirsty and warmongering. We have been, and I shouldn't say we, not you, not I, not
Exactly, the global citizen hijacked our country, but I mean, I forget, it was a bunch of the U.S. ambassadors and Newland, all of them said just a few months ago, they said, our main mission is social in the Ukraine war because Russia isn't letting us do LGBT trans with kids. They actually said that our policy is we want the Russian and Ukrainian children. I mean, what a bunch of creeps, man. They want to invade countries so they get their kids? I mean, these are the folks that grab kids out of the back of your yard, folks. I mean, it's just a billion times bigger. So imagine you take a pedo and a creeper band, and that's the New World Order. I mean, it's like a Death Star-sized white creeper band.
Remember, that's why they overthrew Yanukovych. Yanukovych said, we are not going to go the way of the European Union because we're not going to embrace their homosexual European Union policies. And the moment he said that, Barack Obama, married to Michael LeBon Robinson, a.k.a. Michelle Obama, and Victoria Nuland and John Kerry and the rest of these fools like John McCain initiated the overthrow of Yanukovych. So it was the LGBT agenda they were advancing into Ukraine, and Ukrainian President Yanukovych say, no, we're not going to go that way. We're going to be closer with Russia because we're Christian Orthodox people. We're not going to go the EU way because we can't embrace homosexuality as part of our national policy. And the moment he said that, they overthrew him. Now, they also overthrew him because he said, get these chemical biolabs out of my country. And we overthrew them so we could keep these chemical biolabs for purposes of what? Developing pathogens and diseases to use against Russia and also vaccines for the COVID-19 bioweapon. That was the product of these labs, and then ship it out to Chapel Hill and then Fort Detrick and then Detrick to Wuhan and, all sorts of things that really generate a war crimes case against the Biden administration. Not President Trump. He didn't see a lot of this stuff, but it was the Obama-Biden administration and this third Obama administration that is responsible for the greatest crimes against humanity and the crimes against the world, and has made America look like a bunch of Nazi fascists that are doomed to go to the Nuremberg court if things go the way that I think they're going to go, and that is Russia is going to completely conquer, in Europe. It's not going to go into Germany or anything. It's going to destroy Ukraine, but it's going to stop, and it's going to see revolutions in Germany and France and Britain as the people overthrow their corrupt leaders. I think the deep vendetta moment is upon us. They don't have any military left, so there is no NATO. And the United States is going to pivot all of its military action against its all people in the United States, saying the enemy is the white, domestic, traditional, Christian, male, heterosexual, that is unvaccinated. Let's always remember that. So they're gonna, I wouldn't be surprised too, Alex, if they are generating scripts for the mainstream media to recite. You've seen those videos where they say, this is a danger against our democracy. They're no doubt, and listen for their verbiage, they're no doubt generating that script to be repeated like brainwashing mantras that the white domestic terrorism, the white traditional male is the domestic terrorist. Domestic terrorism is whiteness. They're going to try and repeat.
Well, they're basically already doing that, and that's why I saw them pre-programming that there's imminent cyber shutdowns, which they want to bring in the internet ID. We had to shut the web off to protect the power grid, and the Bilderberg Group and others. And that's their next plan. So I want to talk about that when we come back with Owen Schroyer and Scott Huffman, because I said before they ever said it, watch. Now they're going to claim right-wingers work with Russia, and they're going to launch the attack. And I predicted they would do that right before they were getting ready to do it. Now, maybe I'm wrong. You're a really smart guy. Actually trained in this. I'm just a layperson. But what seeds do you see them planning, and what other attacks do you see? They know they're losing the narrative. Even Fiona Hill, one of their minions, came out and said the New World Order's losing, the globalists, the West, everybody hates us. We need to reassess this. She's not saying that because she's for us. She says it because she knows that everybody hates her. But they're not listening. So they know they're in trouble. What are they going to do to pull victory from the jaws of defeat? On the other side, I'm going to go with Claire's take on this. And I've got a question for you on several other big issues as well, because I've got the sources. The billionaires have been building bunkers and saying stuff forever. But they are thinking it's imminent now, and it's like an anthill in certain areas. What are they digging in for? What are they getting ready for? We'll be right back with Scott Bennett, our guest, and we got to give his website out. Everybody get padded, bins and bags ready. We'll tell you how to check out his.
Iodine is naturally acquired through the soil, which is at the foundation of our entire food supply. Modern farming techniques have stripped the soil of this essential trace element, which has caused an iodine deficiency in about half the population. And there are two things we need to do about it. We need to practice more regenerative farming. There are plenty of proven technologies in permaculture and biodynamics that will naturally keep the soil rich with iodine. And we need to ensure that we get the sufficient amount of iodine every day. Derived from ancient sea salts found thousands of feet below the Earth's surface. Our InfoWars Life Survival Shield X3 is hands down the best. Pure nascent iodine, stabilized in an activated tri-iodine form. For a healthy thyroid and a healthy metabolism, get yours now at InfoWarsStore.com.
Hi, this is Jason Hansen. I'm a former CIA officer and best-selling author on safety and preparedness. The fact is, things are getting downright scary for everyone who's storing their wealth in the banks. We just saw the collapse of 3 major banks, and I would urge you to consider protecting your wealth ASAP. If even a tiny percentage of Americans attempt to withdraw their savings, we would see a collapse of the entire banking system, sending us into a modern-day Great Depression. Fortunately, there is a way for you to avoid this. It starts with contacting Advantage Gold. If you have an IRA or 401k, Advantage Gold can help convert those paper assets into physical gold and silver. This is the process that I recommend everybody use as a hedge against...
Coordinated Universal Time.
China y Sudáfrica. En la cita se resaltarán los objetivos futuros y su pertenencia del grupo de los 77 más China y se fortalecerán los lazos históricos y de hermandad que unen a los pueblos y gobiernos de la isla y Sudáfrica. La delegación se integrará además el director general de Asuntos Multilaterales y Derecho Internacional de la Cancillería, Rodolfo Benítez, o embajador de Sudáfrica, Ingrid Borda. Gobierno cubano abre cuentas oficiales en redes sociales. Con el propósito de fortalecer la comunicación con la ciudadanía, el gobierno cubano abrió sus cuentas oficiales en Twitter, Facebook.
And I discovered that there were few local farmers. There's only 4 days worth of food in the grocery stores, and everything comes 1,500 miles via a just-in-time trucking system. I lost friends and family who told me I was crazy to worry about that, but I kept at it. I'm Marjorie Wildcraft. Those of us who know what's going on in the world know you need to become self-reliant before the dollar collapses. I've created a free webinar at gcnfood.com. I can show you, like I've shown hundreds of thousands of people, how to grow lots of food, even if you have no experience, you're older, or you're out of shape. Do it now, before the stores are boarded up and food is not available at any price. Go to gcnfood.com. gcnfood.com.
You are either with the Republic or against it. Resistance to tyrants is obedience to God. It's Alex Jones.
Global Freedom TV, one word. Global Freedom TV. GCNTV.com. The great Scott Bennett is with us, riding shotgun today. Owen Schroyer's done a fabulous job today. He's been very quiet listening, Owen. But before we segue into other things the globalists are obviously preparing, like the power outages and the rest of it, do you have any questions or comments for Mr. Bennett?
Yeah, I'd like to get Scott's opinion on the most recent development out of Ukraine, because I find it extremely concerning. You had the U.S. and the U.K. both give $300 million from the U.S., 300 million pounds from the U.K. This happened earlier this week, and then I guess 24 or 48 hours later, we saw allegedly a drone blow up an apartment building in Kiev, and then I guess defunct Patriot missile land on a road in Kiev, and then Zelensky comes out and makes a statement. Thank God for Joe Biden and Boris Johnson giving us the hundreds of millions of dollars. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to defend ourselves in the recent wave of attacks by Russia on Kiev. Now, I don't tend to buy any of this, the official narrative being that after $600 billion in pounds are given to Ukraine, within 48 hours, somehow they set up a anti-air, anti-missile defense system that then is also utilized as Russia is attacking Kiev with hundreds of missiles, they're claiming. What do you think the real story here is, Scott Bennett?
Well, it's a distraction operation. It's a shell game. That missile strike was curiously positioned to hit the traffic light right above it. The drone strike, of course, that was done against Moscow, precipitated by the U.S. military code broadcast, is extraordinarily suspicious. But it's a shell game where they're moving things in the darkness with their left hand, money laundering, child sex trafficking, organ harvesting, as they're doing these sort of kinetic operations against Russia. The kinetic operations are the cheerleading squad the mainstream media does that everybody's eyes are focused on. But the real crimes are what they're doing in secret. So Ukraine is descending into theater, and I think the West is going to increasingly kind of ratchet up a lot of their kinetic threats and their slogans of democracy while they do other things such as the invasion across the border, which I think the Democrats are all preparing, and others are preparing for an inevitable civil war in the United States, and they're setting the seeds for that.
So do you believe, though, that within 48 hours, $300 million, 300 million pounds were transferred into Ukraine, and then they were able to set up an anti-missile defense system that essentially saved the city of Kiev from destruction from the Russians? Or do you think that's just a bunch of BS?
No, it's like the Ukrainians are incapable of performing the military tasks required for the training on those weapon systems. Everyone who's been in the military, who's been an artilleryman, who's been in any kind of missile rockets or high technology, who's not a door kicker, understands these are systems that are just not able to be managed and conducted by Ukrainian forces, who are very incapable of conducting much of anything, quite frankly. This is all controlled by British, American, French, German special operations and mercenaries. They are of course funneling money for secret operations. They're funneling money for money laundering purposes, as we saw with FTX. So again, it's theater. It's a shell game. I do see Rishi Sunak and Biden and the rest of these people pouring more and more money into Ukraine. We'll see if the Republicans stop it, audit it, and trace it back. It's interesting that a lot of the people that were directly enriched by Burisma, Metabiota, the Global Viral Forecasting Institute, the Chemical Biolabs, were John Kerry's son, Christopher Hines, Paul Pelosi Jr., Pelosi's son, Romney's son, and of course the crack-smoking, prostitute, child-raping Hunter Biden. So the progeny of the most perverted, corrupt people in politics are the ones who are being enriched. And of course, Marjorie Taylor Greene's introduced articles of impeachment against Biden for a lot of this stuff.
And that's good. Scott, let me ask you a question here. Scott, because I want to get back to this. You got caught up at the very start. You started getting into the drone attacks on Moscow and this code that went out. Can you elaborate on that?
Well, the code that was released was from an American voice, an American military voice, seemingly educated with the nomenclature, the emergency broadcast messaging system that military, cyber, NSA sort of operations conduct. And this code was released, and the Russian intelligence, Russian media had acquired it, and we're trying to find out what it did, what it was. Was it pre-attack, during attack, or post-attack? Was it, to launch the operation? Was it to announce the operation had been launched? Or was it to announce that an operation had been launched and that the West had better prepared for counterstrikes? We don't know yet. Everyone should certainly call their member of Congress and say, what is Operation Fishhook? And what is this broadcast? And I've got it and I can play it, but that needs to be put to Kirby, who interestingly said, we're not going to investigate that Moscow drone strike. When it was with Adam yesterday that we had said this needs to be investigated. This needs to be examined by Jim Jordan and Marjorie Greene and Gates. This needs to be examined by the Republicans to say, did Biden launch a war without congressional approval? Did Biden initiate a war crime and a crime against humanity by attacking civilian targets? Did this code announce it? Did Fishhook announce it? Were you trying to hook a fish? Were you trying to hook Russia into a provocative action like you wisely outlined, Alex, when Churchill fish hooked the Germans into attacking their civilian centers? It changed the course of the war. Were they trying to get Russia to attack civilian targets and perhaps launch nuclear targets to change the direction of the war? Possibly.
I think that's obvious. They've been trying to accelerate this, which again is playing with fire. Up until about 3 years ago, even when Trump wasn't in, I remember when Obama was wanting to go to war with Russia in Syria, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs said, that's going to war with Russia. Mr. President, we want to do that. We have to prepare for nuclear war. If something changed where even Henry Kissinger was saying, don't do this. And then they just said, you know what, we're just going to do it. We can get away with it. And it shows that the so-called elites, as you said, are not the ones of 50 years ago. They are literally a bunch of degenerate pedophiles. I mean, they don't even know. Because we had evil elites before, but they didn't have a suicide wish. These current ones, I guess, have never gotten in trouble or never been stopped. And so they're just in cuckoo land.
Mm-hmm. It's a very accurate psychological assessment, Alex, because the soil from which men's minds grow is far more polluted and toxic today than it was 50 years ago. 50, 60 years ago, we had a relatively traditional American society where the Constitution and our heritage and our 100 years of history mattered. It had grown the greatest generation in World War II. It had grown the 50s and the 60s and the parents and grandparents that came out of that. I was grown in the 70s. And we had a better America back then, and in the 80s too. And it was because of those greatest generations that we did conquer and defeat communism. But then we took a course for the wicked, and we took a course of raping and dismembering Russia in the 1990s under the chief rapist, Bill Clinton. Why he's not been charged like for rapes that he's done against people like Juanita Hill or others. Is amazing. They have the gall to go after President Trump for a cuckoo nonsense rape charge. But in the 1990s, Bill Clinton and Warren Summers and Strobe Talbot and Al Gore, the great wizard of climate change, all embarked on this attack against Russia, raping and dismembering Russia, planting oligarchs, stealing resources, supplanting the election, planting CIA stooges in there, trying to completely collapse its economy with IMF loans. And
then that made the Russians go back to being nationalists and actually created Putin. So yeah, they never looked at how they're creating the hardliners. And just like the West trying to screw the Chinese gives us to Xi Jinping.
Exactly right. We did that in the 90s.
We'll be right back. We're going to go to break. Stay there, Scott. Amazing.
Hi, I'm Dr. Joel Wallach, the Dead Doctors Don't Lie guy, formerly Air Force Lieutenant Colonel, Air National Guard and Reservist. I'm looking for veterans, active duty military personnel to join the 90 for Life crusade to save America. She needs your skills, courage, and loyalty more than ever. Contact GCNteam.com. Because of the financial and healthcare collapse, veterans are currently struggling finding jobs. Frustrated looking for a job? Change your tactics. Join the 90 for Life crusade to save America. Start a healthcare business with FDI Longevity 90 for Life crusade. Contact GCNteam.com immediately. We're looking for military specialists who can use a computer and communicate information and execute a battle plan. Join the admirals, Navy SEALs, Marines, pilots, Army officers, military police, sheriffs, police officers, firemen, and first responders already enrolled in the 90 for Life Crusade. Contact GCNteam.com now. FDI Longevity will help you apply your military skills to the task of saving America through health and financial programs. Contact GCNteam.com. Enlist in GCNteam.com and save America.
I am a non-attorney spokesperson representing a team of lawyers who help people that have been injured or wronged. If you've been involved in a serious car, truck, or motorcycle accident or injured at work, you have rights, and you may be entitled to money for your suffering. Don't accept an offer you get from an insurance company until you talk to a lawyer, and we represent some of the best personal injury lawyers you can find. Tough lawyers that will fight to win your case, and they're so good they stake their reputation on it by only getting paid if you win. So if you've been in a serious car, truck, or motorcycle accident or hurt on the job, find out today for free what kind of compensation you may be entitled to. Call the legal helpline right now.
800-509-4492. 800-509-4492. 800-509-4492. That's 800-509-4492.
No other network provides the level of customer service we do. When it comes to radio advertising, we are your one-stop shop. And no matter how big or small your business is, we can help. Email us at advertise@gcnlive.com, and an experienced advertising executive will help you take the first step towards driving more customers to your business or website. Advertise@gcnlive.com. Easy, affordable, effective.
Extendivite is more than just a heart tonic. Most basic diseases are caused by yeast in the gut and metals in the liver, and we all have a bit of both. The garlic in Extendivite has a yeast-killing effect in the gut while also helping the sulfur enzyme in the liver get rid of the metals. Extendivite just may improve your overall health. Products like Extendivite are the only way we are going to get our society healthy. And if you're waiting for the government and pharmaceutical care to solve your health problems, you're going to have a long, disappointing wait, I think. Extendivite is a complete formula for extended life in the new millennium. 80 can be the new 60. Extendivite is available in capsule or liquid form for just $69.95 for a 2-month supply. To get started, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendivite.
Complement your health with hemp-derived cannabinoid oil. We've always believed that the closer to Earth, the better it is for our bodies. Our hemp-derived cannabinoid oil is phytocannabinoid-rich, full-spectrum, and organically grown. Finally, hemp made easy, clean, and effective. GCNhemp.com or call 877-878-4203. That's right, we cut through the red tape. It's now available at GCNhemp.com or call 877-878-4203.
Segment left with our incredible guest, Scott Bennett. Everybody should visit his website. Everybody should bookmark it. globalfreedomtv.com. I'm on the road. I'm back tomorrow. And I just noticed I didn't plug this iPad in like an idiot this morning. It was at 100%. It's 5%, so it cuts out a minute. Or maybe I'll get up while Owen's talking or while Scott's talking and plug this stupid thing in here. But that's a perfect segue when I was about to get into here, Scott. When we sit here and we talk about the globalists being incompetent and out of control, it's not like we're saying we're in a great position or we've got all the answers. It's more scary to have incompetent, crazy, inbred, pedophile psychos. So when we say that, it's not like, oh, our enemies are idiots. Oh, we're doing great. No, our enemies are super dangerous because they're out of control, and that can make other adversaries and groups really then be in a posture that could end the world
very, very, very quickly. I know you analyze that, you understand that. So I want to be very clear, people, just because the globalists are out of control does not mean that they aren't even more dangerous because of that. So I wanted to finish up with just that understanding. And then I wanted to get into a little more on the power grid, because I'm seeing massive pre-programming on that. And again, them now saying that right-wing Christians work with the Russians, kind of integrating those two lies, the new we're all white supremacists, ADL is going to, get you, and all this legislation. And then, and work with the Russians. They're going to combine those two giant hoaxes together. They're going to need some pretext to make that sound like it's reasonable. And of course, when we say that dog won't hunt or blow in your face, well, they just keep doubling down. And then I want to segue into Kauai, where I did a workation last week and a half, because I was going to go to Alaska, never been there, but we've been to Kauai quite a few times, and I said, I want to go back there because Zuckerberg, according to my sources, was building a big underground base and a submarine base and trying to set up robot defenses. He doesn't trust the security people. So I came here and I met with a lot of construction firms, a lot of other groups. They make them sign NDAs, but we confirm. And we'll show some just still shots real quick. I'm going to show this when I get back to Austin in HD. Well, you put those on screen, guys. I'll send them to you. This is from a helicopter. You can see the big dome buildings that they've built. And under that, there's these dump trucks going in and out all day as they dig in. And then understand how big those are. His giant 40,000 square foot house is just a little box there below one of those facilities. So just like the NSA builds these big giant hangar bubbles that you can put a 747 in at that entrance, and there are also aircraft hangars. There's got giant construction going on all over. He's got thousands and thousands of acres. And again, he's under. There's a big mountain and a gorge there. They're building literally a James Bond villain, or like the Nazis had, underground sub base. If you try to get anywhere out 200 yards from the land, drones and armed troops come out and get in your face, even though it's public property. If you get on the beach, they basically assault you. And I'm just showing some grainy stuff here before I get back, because people don't want to see the actual HD. They love like little grainy things. But this is just some of what people are going to be seeing and what's happening.